Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel to Girl Denise. And I am so excited because we finally got her here on the channel. Ladies and gents, please welcome Skye Blue. Skye, welcome to the channel. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Each and every single week covering AEW here for the longest time. And you are always one of my favorites, one of the chat's favorites, an overall favorite across the board. So it's nice to have you on here. I'm going to start off with how you're doing.
Good. It has been crazy. I've been very busy, but good busy. Good to keep going and get back into it after not doing it for so long.
How does it feel to be back on the road after having been out due to an injury for almost a year, was it?
Yeah. It was 10 months. So, yeah, almost a year, but it took a second to get used to. I was like, oh my God, I have to fly again. I have to pack a bag. I have to. It was very weird because, like, when I was stuck on a couch or I was, like, stuck in a house, I was like, oh, what do I do with myself? I'm not wrestling. I'm not training. I'm not. Well, I couldn't fully work out. So it was a very like a wake up moment, like, oh wait, I can do this again. Like this is back to I felt back to normal, but it did take a second because it was so long. But I was just very excited to just get out of the house and get back to it.
10 months being out, it always sucks whenever you're dealing with an injury because you got so much that you're dealing with the pain, the rehab, and then the mental aspect of it all. Will I recover? How will it be when I come back? What was that journey like for you in those 10 months to have to deal with that injury? And was it one of your first injuries, or had you been out for that kind of time period before?
I'd never been out that long. Like when I had first started training, I broke an elbow, but they just casted it. This was like the first major surgery. This was the first real big one. So it was terrifying in the beginning. When I couldn't get up off a couch or if I couldn't do really anything, I couldn't even crawl. It was crutching around was difficult at first. I'd never been on crutches. It was always arms or shoulder, whatever. Never a leg. So it took a second to like realize, oh, I'm going to be sitting here. Um, but once I could start like slightly moving, like when I could butt scoot up the stairs or like I could go with Kyle to the grocery store or like go to the gym and like just do arms, then it was like, okay, we're like slowly making progress to get back to the ring. So as long as I knew like in the back of my head, and I did have Kyle, and Kyle was an amazing support through this whole thing. I probably would not have gone through it without pulling hair and teeth and everything out without him. But once I could slowly start doing things, and I was like, okay, this is one step closer to the ring. This is one step closer to this. But yeah, I feel like the mental was harder than the actual injury itself. Because like you're sitting and you're watching all your coworkers and your friends go do what we all love to do and go to work. And it's like, oh, I can't even get up the stairs without help. Like it was definitely one of those, the mental was harder than I could have ever imagined. But having Kyle and like having friends come visit, and I got two little kitties right before surgery, so having two little cats at home with me definitely helped. And now here we are.
And now it's one of those things where, the time went by so fast. I'm sure right when it happened, you were probably thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna be
Oh,
gone forever, right? But it really did go by so
yeah.
fast. And when you came back, the second I saw you hit that ring, I thought, oh, this girl did not miss a beat. And it felt like you came back with a different kind of aura to you. I don't know if what happened, what changed, how that changed, but have you noticed that yourself, even just like you just came back in with an extra like kick in your pep in your step, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I think definitely, like character wise, I definitely Adam Copeland, because he had broke his ankle, and he had was talking to Kyle one day, and I was like, "Can I just know? Like, I've never had surgery. Am I gonna like die? Like, how bad is this gonna be?" So he definitely like he helped so much. He was like, "All right, this is what this is gonna be like. This is what this is gonna feel like. Read a book," and he kept telling me, "Read books. It will help." And I was like, "You want me to read books? That's crazy." And now, I don't know if you can see, I have a bajillion books. Now I
Yeah.
love reading, and I have gotten so much character inspiration from like fantasy books. And I feel like it kind of like relit a few, like, 'cause when I was a kid in school, I loved like dragons, witches, and all the things a private school kid should not like. And it kind of just like relit that fuse in my brain, and I was like, oh my God, I can use this with wrestling. And then, sitting on a couch for so long, not being able to do this, kind of like lit a fire under my ass, to say, because it's like we like this can be taken away from us so easily. Like we can get hurt and then we can never do this again, or you can, be out for so long because of the slightest little thing, So it's like I don't want to take it. I don't ever want to take it for granted. If I get to be in the ring, I'm gonna make it the best. However long I get to be in the ring, like I love this so much, so I just want to take advantage of every moment I get.
That's probably one of the best advice I've ever heard, which is read books because it makes you, well, one, you're killing time while you can't
Yes.
do anything. But two, it eases your mind to go someplace
Yeah.
else instead of having to sit there, worrying in your own thoughts. So,
It took
wow,
away
I
the
love
doom
that.
scroll. If
Yes.
you ever don't want to doom scroll, pick up a book. And I've tried to. I've Kyle's even tried. He's like, I don't know how you just don't play on your phone. I was like, I picked up a book. It sounds like the most old person thing ever. Sorry, Adam. You're not old. I promise.
No, I'm with you, man. I 100% agree. It is so hard, especially in this year, to be like, I'm going to put down my phone and
Yeah.
grab a book. But for anybody listening here, if there's anything you take away from this interview, grab a book.
Read
There
book.
you go. So now you're back and you're out there. You're with Julia. You're with Thekla, and I am loving this spooky gothic girl group that we are getting. How did this all come about to form this new group?
I feel like we all kind of just like flip switches in our brains. Like me and Julia, like when I came back, we were like, oh, we're right back where we were. And then when Thekla came, we're like, oh, she's kind of like us. And it all kind of like when we all started just like wrestling and like working together and talking, we're like, this is really cool. This could be something really different that not anybody's really doing. And she's like, I know we're like a little spookier, witchier, satanic-ier. But I feel like, I don't know, the world needs more spooky bitches. So here we are.
I'm with you, man. Well, first of all, I feel like we haven't had as many female stables yet
Yeah.
in AEW and like generally in wrestling. Like we just need more female stables,
Yeah.
period. And then not only that, like the spooky kind. That is exactly what I'm vibing with. When you and Julia go out there and you're like holding hands, looking like the creepy sisters from Yep, there you go. That is so appealing.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. And her brain is so creative with all of it, like with the how to draw inspiration from different movies and different characters and different songs. And her brain is so good with it. And I'm just like, how does your brain work? I just want to like pop in there for a second and be like, oh, this is cool.
We've had Julia here on the channel before and loved getting to chat with her. What has been the experience both working with Julia and with Thekla, especially Thekla? She's getting, assimilated into the AEW roster because she's fairly new there too. And you and Julia have been there for a little bit longer. So what's been that whole dynamic like?
Well, I love working with Julia. Like, I feel like when we both started, we were both very young and we were like timid, very like baby face young girls, and now we're like, look at us, we're cool spooky bitches. So it was very cool. Like we got to grow together, and I love hanging out with her. She's a goofball, and I absolutely love her. And then Thekla being newer, it's really cool to like see how because she wrestled over in Japan, and her bringing that style over here, and like kind of like forming it like with ours, and like showing her like, oh, this is TV, this is how we do this, and this is different. But you still, we all make it our own and we all add our little flares and like still show like this is how long we worked, this is where we came from, this is us. And then we just portray it to TV. And I think it's really a cool combo because everybody's different. Everybody has a different background. And we all just kind of like mix it together.
Yeah, that's been very cool. Like you guys are so different, but yet you guys complement each other so nicely now that I'm like thinking about it right now. And it's so funny because every time I see Thekla do her little spider thing, I'm just like, oh my God, girl, like how do you do it?
My gymnastics days were long over. I'd be like, oh, my back.
You're like, I'm done. I can't do this.
I can do a cartwheel still. Does that say?
Yeah. Oh my God. Skye, so on your return, I had kind of mentioned how it felt like you were presenting yourself just a little bit differently than maybe even you were before. For you, like what has been the mental thought process in your return of like, hey man, when I come back, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like what was your thought process? And even like look wise, you changed your hair, you changed, a lot of what you're doing. How did you come up with all of that?
So the hair, I mean, I ripped them out because I'm getting new hair. But the silver and black came from a book, actually, from, I don't know if you've heard of the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros.
No, I
Um,
would see. I haven't read as many books as you have right now. I'm ashamed.
um, no, it was like but the main female character, her hair is like silver at the bottom, and it was kind of like the silver is like rooted from the evil that comes up from the ground, and then it's like slowly creeping up the hair. So that was where I got the hair from, because I was like, oh, it works with the whole spooky thing. Um, but I feel like with coming back, I just wanted to make a statement. I wanted to show that even though I was like 10 months out, that I've been thinking about this, I've been working on this, I've been 24/7 wrestling in my brain when I wasn't trying to distract my brain from it. And I wanted I didn't want to be the same Skye Blue that I was before. I wanted to show, hey, this is me, but I've worked my ass off to get back to this point. And now that I am back, you can't ignore me. I'm here, and you're stuck with me.
Yes. Well, I mean, you've been with AEW for a while, and we've really seen you grow up right before our eyes. You're so young, and you started even younger in AEW. When you think back to like your first like time period in AEW, like the first year or month or whatever that remembers to you in your memory, to where you are now, how would you even describe the experience, the growth, and everything that has come along with being an AEW wrestler?
So I think my very first one was in 2020. I was an extra. I remember being terrified, timid, like just hiding in my corner, waiting to like, do whatever I was told. And then once I got signed and being like, oh, you're here every week, like this is what we do. And I was like, oh, this is my life now. This is what I built up in my head that I worked so long to get to. And now it's my everyday. And it was definitely like a surreal, like, oh my goodness, this is actually real. Like I'm actually signed now. So I feel like as the time went on, I got comfortable, not only like with my surrounding, but like with myself and myself as a wrestler, and like being able to learn then from everybody that was at work, and like pick everybody's brain and like get more comfortable in front of a camera. So I feel like I've definitely like tremendously grown, but like I still feel like there's so much more I can learn. There's so much more. You can always learn and always keep growing and progressing, but I feel like we have like the coolest group of people to like learn from and pick their brains. And like the amount of times that I would be able to go up to Will Ospreay and be like, can I just pick your brain? And like, I know I won't understand half of it and I can't do a quarter of your flips, but the way he will understand and like explain wrestling, but like in terms that like I would understand, for example, or like whatnot. And it is just insane. And I love the atmosphere and being able to grow and keep learning just from everybody. And I feel more comfortable in my skin each time too.
It's funny because I was going to ask you, like, who are some of those people that you've gone up to? And then you mentioned Will Ospreay, and I'm thinking, imagine having at your disposal one of the greatest wrestlers, if not the greatest wrestler on the planet right now, just to be like, hey, can you help me out with this? And I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that. And then you also have Kyle, who freaking kills it in the ring too. Like, it just feels like there's a lot really there to like gain knowledge and experience from. It's so cool.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what the question, and even if it's like the silliest of questions, they never make me feel dumb. They're always like, oh yeah, but, and then even if like, oh, if I say I want to do blah, 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 they're like, you can do that, but this will make it better. And they'll like explain how the thought process and how they got there. And it's just like the little things like that. So then when I go try to, come up with ideas for something later, then that'll stick in my brain. I'll be like, oh, I should do that thought process, or like how they got to that, and use it and apply it. And I feel like I'm back in school using all these like, oh, you got to use this equation to do this and this. But no, it is super helpful, and I am very grateful for both of them and everybody that I get to pick their brain and ask a million questions.
Yes, yes. Skye, who are some of those people that influenced you in pro wrestling? Like whether it was in ring, style wise, people that you want to emulate their careers. Who are those people for you?
That is actually a really good question. I feel like when I first started like back in high school, and I was like figuring out, just watching as much women's wrestling as I could, because when I started training, I was the only girl. I watched so many Madison Rain matches, and it is so crazy to think of it now, because now that I've been able to tag with her and I get to work with her every week, and it's crazy. I'll be like, I watched your matches in high school, and she's like, shut up. And she gets so mad, and she's like, don't age me. Um,
But you're
but I
like,
feel
this
like
is a compliment.
I was like, no, I failed math because of you. It's okay. But I feel like a lot of like the women that I get to work with now, like I would watch like Toni Storm matches, I watched Ruby Soho matches, and just watching these women in school and being like, oh my god, I want to be like them one day, and then oh hey Toni, hey Ruby, like seeing them at work, it is like very surreal, and that I get to like just being like thinking like, oh, if I watched you and now I work with you, like oh maybe one day a little girl will look up to me that way and be like, I want to be like her. And I feel like that is like the biggest kicker in my brain, that I want to be what inspires the next generation of girls. That you don't have to be normal, you don't have to be, you don't have to be cookie cutter, you don't have to look like what everybody looks like on social media. You can just do what makes you happy and it will still lead you to success.
And you probably already have. I mean, you probably haven't met her yet, but she's probably already out there. There's probably several that are like, I want to be like Skye Blue, because
Which is
it's
insane.
cool. Like,
Yeah.
you see these, you grow up, you see these women and you're like, wow, they're so awesome. And then you suddenly start to do it. And then sometimes it's difficult to see yourself in that
Yeah.
same light.
It
But like
doesn't
I can
click,
tell you,
yeah.
like I see you on TV and I'm like, oh my gosh, she looks so cool. I mean, I'm way past that heyday, but regardless, I still
No,
look at
never.
you and all the women and I'm like, yo, like they look so freaking cool. I wish I
Thank
could do
you.
that. So now, granted, like there's, younger girls that are looking at you and going like, damn, I want to be a wrestler someday. And,
Mm.
in several years, there'll be some girl being like, I watch your matches in high school.
And be like, oh.
Oh my gosh. Now, you kind of mentioned being a fan in high school of pro wrestling and some of the women that you looked up to, but how did this whole journey begin for you? Were you a lifelong fan? How did that start? And then actually deciding to pursue this as a legitimate career?
So my parents have been fans their whole. Oh, sorry, there is a cat
No, it's
joining
okay.
us. um, yeah, so my parents have been fans their whole life. So it was kind of like always on in the house. And when I was younger, I didn't like totally understand it. But when I was in high school, I don't remember how, but I think like freshman or something in high school, my mom was like, sit down and just come watch this with me. And I was like having a shit day at school. And I was like, all right, if you say so. And I fell in love. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, oh, we can just beat the crap out of people. And she was like, no, you can't just beat people up, Skye. I don't beat anybody up in high school. But then, like, I just fell in love with it, and I watched it with my mom every week. And I don't remember how old I was, but there was a hardcore match, and somebody went through a table. And I was sitting on the couch with my mom, and I go, I'm going to do that one day. And she goes, no, you're not. So that week, I found a place that was willing to train a 17-year-old girl with parental, there, obviously. And my spring break of my junior year, I had a tryout.
Oh my God. And how did you feel like, well, first of all, that same week, your mom must have been like, man, this girl, the second she says something, she actually does it.
She knew that. I think she, in the back of her head, she knew if she said I wouldn't, then I'd be like, all right, now I'm gonna prove your ass wrong. Like, watch this.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, and then that week I was terrified. I was the only girl, and I felt like everybody was like a 6-foot dude, and I was like, oh crap. And I was like, but in the back of my brain, I was like, no, I have to impress them. I have to keep up. I have to show that I can do this. I'm not gonna let them like push me around. I was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm gonna do it.
So you mentioned having to be in there with all those guys. Obviously, you have to train with them. And in the beginning, I'm sure it was like a little awkward. I don't know. What was that like for you? I just sounds terrifying, honestly.
A lot of them like wouldn't want to work with me because I was a small girl. Like I'm only 5'2", and they wouldn't want to hit me. They wouldn't want to hurt me, and they were too scared. And I would get so frustrated. I was like, just hit me. It's fine. Like I know what I signed up for. This is what I signed up for. This is what I want to do. Just treat me like one of the boys. And I think one day it finally like clicked through everybody's head that I was like, oh, she's just one of the boys. And then they were all cool. So yeah, that's if you ever start trading, just
Oh God,
wrestle
no.
like one of the boys. That is, I feel like I've had a couple girls ask me like, how do you get into this? And I was like, you just work your ass off and work like one of the boys. Because if they treat you girl, boy different, I feel like that's when everything goes downhill. It's like if you are just a wrestler, that's all it is. You just gotta train and work your
Yeah.
ass off.
Especially, I feel like every time girls say that you can kind of tell when someone started training with men and when they started just like training like they were only wrestling women or
Yeah.
whatever. Like you can kind of tell the difference in their in-ring work. And even though it's scary and it's terrifying, you did it. And that's what got you, so at such an early age to be with AEW. Because how old were you when you signed with AEW at that point?
I was 21.
Oh my God. You see,
Yeah.
so what, 3-4 years later, I'm bad at math, you were already with a
Yeah.
major promotion, which when
Yeah.
you tell other people this, they're like, there's people that spent, 10, 15 years in the indie scene trying to make it to that level.
It felt like it was a whirlwind, like it was just poof and it was done, and I was like, oh my God. Because I think I finally got to because where I started, I only wrestled there for a little while. But then once I finally got to branch out, it was like I just wanted to do every indie, and I wanted to wrestle everywhere. I wanted to wrestle every day and as much as I could. And then I felt like it all went by a blur, and then it was like, here's extra work, and I was like, oh my God, what? Like, I've dreamed of this. Like, and it felt like it was just like boom, and it was there.
So your mom, your family, they were fans and now they're seeing you on TV. They're seeing you in the news and just everything that comes with being a professional wrestler, right? How have they felt seeing you do the dream? That's something that they're actually interested in.
They absolutely love it now. At first, they were terrified. They're like, maybe we shouldn't do this. Like, when I would come home with a broken elbow, then my dad was like, all right, maybe we shouldn't. I was like, no, sit your butt down. I'm doing this. But now they absolutely love it. They come to all the shows that they can. I actually got to, when I did my first pay-per-view, that Full Gear in LA, my parents had never, I don't know, they'd been on a flight like once before. So I got to fly my parents to LA for my very first pay-per-view. And my parents were actually, this is my favorite one of my parents, the SummerSlam where it was Undertaker versus Undertaker in Chicago, and it was at the United Center. The very first collision was at the United Center, and me and Willow tagged against Ruby and Toni, and I got to have my parents front row. So the last time they were there was for a big pay-per-view, and then the next time they got to be there, their kid was wrestling in the very same building.
I got chills right now when you said that, by the way, because hearing stories like that, like it really means so much.
That was like my little, hey, I really made it, like kind of thing, like that I got to have both my parents there, and it just is wild. Like it was the very first collision too. I was like, oh my God, it's just like everything all in that day. I think I cried a lot that day, but
I don't blame you. I really, really don't blame you. Now, and you kind of mentioned like, crying a lot that day. Do you still feel nerves when you go out there? Like, I know this is kind of a lame question, but like, what's your routine like before heading out there to for a match?
I definitely like do a lot of more stretches and like, not sure, like warm up little things for my ankle now, just because I want to be as safe as possible. And there's a whole lot of metal in it. But I definitely try to just kind of calm myself and like really like just take deep breaths and just try to focus and be like, remember, this is what you wanted. This is what you've worked so hard for. It'll seem scary in the moment, but then it's done. And then you're like, oh my God, that wasn't that scary. So I try to kind of like just breathe through it and like remember also that like, even though you're nervous, it means you care so much. And that it's not just like a ugh, whatever thing. It's like I really care and really love this thing. So I just try to like keep those in the back of my brain. And then I freak out right before I go.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I gotta go. Okay, good. And then you go. And then your adrenaline. And once the adrenaline takes over, then it's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah,
it's that anticipation right before that. I'm like, oh.
You're like right there, like just waiting, like, oh my God, my music's about to hit. I want to throw up or something, just that scary feeling. Oh my God.
The nervous pee. You always nervous have to pee. And then you're like out there and you're like, oh, never mind, I don't.
You're like, I already went. Damn it.
Stop it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Skye, when you look back at your time in AEW, what have been your favorite matches, feuds, storylines, all of that?
Oh, goodness. There has been so many. I love the street fight that I did with Willow. I absolutely love wrestling with her. The way she moves in the ring is amazing, and I'm always like, what can we do to kill us? Like, what can we do? What can we do that we haven't done before? But I loved that street fight, and I love the hardcore matches, so anytime that I can go crazy and balls the walls like that, I'm like, yes, let's do it. I also loved wrestling the Outcasts, so when it was like Toni Storm, Ruby Soho, and Saraya. I will wrestle them any day of the week, any day, any year. I absolutely love them. They are amazing, and it is still so crazy. Like, I grew up watching their stuff, and now I was the one wrestling them, and it was just like little moments like that where it's like, oh, this is like, you made it, kid, kind of thing. And it's just so much fun. it is so much fun wrestling Toni Storm. She is insane, and I absolutely love it.
I just feel like she's a riot backstage. That's the way I picture her. Just
She is.
like exactly the same.
She's hilarious. We got to have her come over to the house in Chicago, and she was obsessed with my couch and my cats. So I was like, yes, this is wonderful.
I love that. Oh my gosh. No, Toni's been so fun to see. So like, I can't even imagine like getting to like kind of pick her brain and whatnot.
It's crazy because she's really wrestled in so many different places. She's wrestled so many different people and for so long, and she's done so many different characters. She's literally in her time done so much. So I feel like she has so much knowledge, but she just like says it so easily, and it's just like very easy to digest and understand. So it's just like, oh my God, I could listen to you talk all the time.
That's so great just to have that at your disposal.
Yeah.
So cool. I do want to ask you because earlier you were kind of talking about Kyle Fletcher, and I actually got to talk to Kyle Fletcher for All In. Very fun, very nice guy. It was my first time ever meeting him too. So like I had been a fan, but now like actually talking to him, and he was just so fun, so enjoyable. And it was funny because the first thing that I asked him, and I want to get your thoughts on this because your thoughts are the ones that matter, is I told him, I was like, Kyle, I got a bone to pick with you. And he looks at me and he's like, oh no, what did I do? And I said, you cut the hair off, Kyle. How dare you cut? I was a fan of the hair. What was your reaction to all of that?
So when he was bleaching the hair, I was like, you're gonna get sick of I knew he was gonna get sick of bleaching it. And he had said that he was like, before he would go through like little phases like, oh, I want my hair like this, and he'd do it for a while and then he'd change it, like everybody, like girls, like everybody. And he was like, I have this idea. It's kind of crazy. And I was like, all right, well, as per usual, but yes. And I knew he had his heart set on it. And I was like, hey, if that's what you want to do, I'm going to support you no matter what. And now I like petting his head when he like freshly shaves it because it's so fun. It feels like a little fucking, oh, sorry.
No, you're okay. Just trust me, we curse a lot around here.
Things.
Where the little Kia dolls? Wait, is that what you said, or?
Like I don't know if what I'm saying. Like they're like little fuzzy fluffs, and you just maybe I don't know.
Well, either way, his head is fun to touch.
It's very fuzzy, yeah. So I'm like, oh, freshly hair.
That is so funny. How did you and Kyle like meet? How did the romance blossom and all of that?
So we met through work. The very first time that we didn't even hang out this day. We were just in an elevator. It was me, him, and Billy Starks. And it was like an Orlando dark, and he didn't have a shirt on, and he just got chopped a million times. So the poor boy, and he's pale Australian. Poor boy was like red and already turning purple, and Billy was like about to chop him, and I was like, Billy, we don't chop strangers, like we don't do that. And he was like, no, not stranger, but like, I was like, we don't do that, and he was just like, then,
what's happening right now?
And then he went to Japan, and then but we actually started hanging out. It was to do the ROH pay-per-view for Mania weekend when it was, hold on, LA. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was there. I was helping bedazzle gear for the ROH pay-per-view. I was helping because that's what I love, helping Chris, our gear maker. I bedazzle all the stuff for him and I help him because it's like very calming to just sit there and bedazzle gear. Some people like hate it because it's very tedious. I like it because it's calming. So I was there to bedazzle gear, and yeah, we just kind of started talking at that pay-per-view, and then we hung out that entire day because he didn't have to fly. He had to fly to Japan the next day. So we ended up staying up all night. We all went out. It was a big group of us, like Willow was definitely there. A million other people that I probably don't remember. But we would, it's WrestleMania week, and we went and watched a bunch of GCW indie shows. We all just hung out. We were in LA. I think we tried to go to a bar. And then I think his flight was like 6 or 7 a.m. and we hung out till literally he had to go get his bags and go to the airport. And then he went to Japan for a while, and I was like, oh, now you're in Japan. But we like talked the whole time through Japan. Like I would set my time zone, my phone in the time zone so that I could wake up and whenever he was up to talk to him. And then when he was done with his loop, instead of going home, he came to Chicago and hung out with me.
Aw, and then it just stuck. Yeah.
It's stuck with me ever since.
I love that because I feel like whenever you meet somebody and you have like hours and hours where you just can't stop talking, that's
Yeah.
usually like the sign that hey,
Yep.
I kind of found a person that, we might stick around together.
Yeah,
So,
you can tolerate me? Cool.
yeah. How is it like to be with a wrestler when you are a wrestler and you work in the same promotion and you're traveling together, you're living together, you're doing everything together?
Yeah.
What's that like?
I think in my brain, it makes life so much easier because it's somebody who understands what we do, and what we do is not just like a 9 to 5 where you clock out and you don't have to think about it anymore. It's kind of like a whole lifestyle. Like everything that we do kind of revolves around wrestling. Like we go to the gym, we eat healthy, when we go to the grocery store, we get stuff to meal prep for our food, for our diet, for our job. Which I think somebody who's not in the industry wouldn't understand as much, because and we're both like very passionate about it. We love this, and he is insane with his diet and his workout, and I am so proud of him. I wish I could do that, but I have to have some sort of sugar. I can't without it. I don't know how he does it. Um, I feel like he's just like my other half, and he really helps me through everything. And like even like the injury, or like when you're just down about it, like because there would be those random days when I'd be sitting on the couch. I was like, what if I just can't wrestle anymore? Like what if I just can't? And he'd be like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to get through this. And he also understood, like, and being like, I understand where your brain is coming from, and would listen and let me vent, but then be like, all right, but here's what we're not going to do, and then how to fix it and how to get your brain out of that. So I feel like because we're both wrestlers and we're both so passionate, he just understands better.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Because imagine you're like focusing in on your diet and your partner's like, let's go out and order
Yep.
pizza and Doritos and let's binge tonight. And it's so easy to like,
Love
be like,
pizza.
okay, one
Pizza,
time.
please.
Yeah.
I love pizza.
So I think that having that, and also like wrestling can be so hard. Like I know we talk about all the fun aspects of it, but there's a lot of hard aspects of it. A
Yeah.
physical, the travel, the public attention that you get, being on social media. And when you do have somebody that is also going through the exact same things, it does make it
Yeah.
easier to just be like, this is life. This is what we do.
Yeah, it's just a different level of understanding because like they're in the same situation as us, or like we're both in that.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I 100 I love it. I love that you get to have that support system with you
Yeah.
each and every single week, and you for him, but also, Kyle's done some crazy things in the ring, like that Spanish fly off the top of the cage, just this past last week, 2 weeks ago, his collision match with Dustin where they just went, like, batshit crazy.
hmm
How do you feel seeing some of that stuff?
So I at least knew about the Spanish fly. Um, he was like, "I'm gonna do something crazy, and it's gonna be off the top of the cage." And I was like, "Okay." So I at least had it in the back of my brain. So like when I was there and I saw them climbing, I was like, "All right, it's coming, it's coming. Something ridiculous is coming." Um, and it was so funny because that day I got to come to work, and I had done like bunny hops and skips, and I had gotten body slammed. I got to take my first bump, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my god, I got to do all this stuff. I got to." And he was like, "I'm doing something off the top of the cage," and I was like, "Oh, okay, great. I will be terrified. Don't worry." Um, but no, even like the collision. So I knew nothing about the collision match, and I was just sitting, and I felt so nervous. I'd be sitting watching, like, all right, what's coming? What's coming? Like, definitely puts me on edge and like makes me very nervous because I hear about him, obviously. But I also know, I was like, oh, he's having the time of his life. He's having a ball. So, and he's super talented. So I know he's not gonna do anything super crazy to get hurt. But there's always that little fear in the back of my brain because I was like, I don't want to have to, I don't want to watch you get hurt thing. But I know it makes him happy, and as long as he's happy, I will support him no matter what, but be terrified at the same time and smacking whoever's next to me like, what is he doing?
I feel like that's the appropriate response for
Yeah.
sure because it's fun and you're supportive, but at the same time you're like, just be careful out there, because that's just it's your guy, that's who you're
Yeah.
rooting for, and all of that. So it totally hits different. I do want to ask you kind of a fun question. So it's so funny because obviously I follow you on Instagram, and obviously your pictures and everything, and your pictures that you do and your friendship that you have with Queen Aminata always gets a lot of people talking. I have one of my
Yes.
friends who messaged me and is like, Denise, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I just seen these pictures. What's your friendship like with Queen Aminata?
I love that girl. She is amazing. The very first day I met her, I actually scared her. She was like doing her little vlog thing, and there was like we were doing an indie show, and there was like a big Airbnb house, and I had just gotten there, so I pulled up, and I was like trying to get in, and I couldn't get in, and I didn't realize she was vlogging, and I came up behind her, and she like I think she saw me in the camera, and it scared the crap out of her, and I went, "Hi, I'm Skye." And then that night we wrestled and we beat the crap out of each other, and then from then on we were just best friends.
Aw, that's
And
so
we were just kind of
cool.
inseparable. We were always like joined at the hip. And like she calls my parents her Caucasian parents, which I don't know
I
if I should
love
say out loud,
that.
or American parents. We can say American parents instead. um, but yeah, she'd always be like, "I want to go visit Mumsy and Dadsy," and she'd go see my parents. And she was when she was sick and she had to go to the when she had to, when she had all her seizures. I was there in the ambulance with her, and I got to be there for her. And then when I broke my ankle, because Kyle was at home, she got to be in the ambulance for me and go to the hospital with me. I was like, all right, we've done our ambulance rides with each other. I think we've done everything. We're good. You're really stuck with me now.
It's the friendship is official as it could possibly get. Yeah, and she's been doing her thing too in AEW, killing it as well. I mean, just you guys have been killing it across the board. And it's very exciting to see. Before we wrap up the interview, I have two more questions. One, how you're feeling right now about the AEW women's division, because it is stacked, man. It is stacked with all types of levels of women and just everything, different personalities, you name it. How does it feel to be part of that division?
I absolutely love it. I feel like we have somebody from everywhere and so many different styles, aesthetics, and different. Everybody's different. Nobody's like cookie cutter the same. And I think that makes us more interesting. We have more fun. Everybody has the same goal. We just want to be the best and we want to show that, hey, we can do this too. We are as good as the boys and we're as good as everybody else. And we just want to go wrestle and have fun. And I just think it's a very welcoming and comfortable and loving locker room, and then we just get to go kill it on TV and go do cool stuff, and we all get to do it together and share the moments. So I think it's amazing, and I absolutely love it.
And then my last question for you is, and I like to ask this to everybody, but your short and long term goals within AEW, outside of AEW, because you can do cool things outside too. So, what are some of those things for you?
I think a short-term one would just to get back into the groove. I feel like as much as I can, you work and work and work, like having 10 months off, I just want to get back to where I was before the leg injury, and like just like really keep going, because like in the back of my brain there's always like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this move, oh, maybe I shouldn't do, because it was scary and traumatizing breaking an ankle. So I just want to get my body and everything back to before, and I think I am doing really well at like getting in the ring and working out and like doing stuff like that, but just like the little mental thing like that, I just want to keep pushing myself to be the best version of myself. And then for long term, I just want to. I've said this before. I don't know if it's gonna sound crazy. I want to represent AEW. Like I want them to be like, yes, that's our girl. Like, and it doesn't have to be a belt. It doesn't, never. I just want them to be like, yes, we are proud of her, and like we want to, this is our girl. This is one of our amazing girls, and like that embodies the women's division and just helps push them forward no matter what it is, whether it's wrestling, whether one day I can't wrestle and it's just helping doing, agenting, producing, whatever it may be. Knock on wood, I want to wrestle till
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, knock on wood, girl. You got it. I was gonna say,
if
like,
I can
you're
wrestle
like,
till I'm 90, I will be a happy camper.
yes.
Yeah, I just want to make the company proud and just keep doing what I'm doing.
You know what? I know you said it sounds crazy. I don't think it sounds that crazy. I think it's definitely possible. Just been seeing what I've been seeing on TV. So, honestly, Skye, it was a pleasure to have you here on the channel and get to learn more about you. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to appear here. Please tell the people where they can follow you, support you, check out the pictures, everything.
Yeah, I have Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is just Skye Blue Wrestling with an underscore somewhere. And then Twitter is SKYEEBYEE, I think.
Perfect.
But I suck at Twitter, so don't.
I'll post the links below so that just in case of the spelling and everything.
I was gonna say I suck at Twitter. And I also have Patreon, where all my photo shoot stuff goes. So
Perfect. All right. I'm going to post all of the links to that in the description box below so you guys can follow Skye and give her some love. Thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. Let us know what you thought about the interview in the comment section below, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for having me.